You're watching Teng Tools Muscle Garage, the home of New Zealand's toughest muscle cars, hot rods and street machines. Muscle Garage is proudly brought to you by Teng Tools in association with Mount Shop, Maguire's and Niedercar. Coming up, 10 and out for Little Waikato legend the Royals Rumble in Pirongia, and stripes, lettering and lowbrow with auto artist Stace the Ace. But it's the crew from Maguire's kicking things off today, sending us to Taranaki to track down Raz's awesome 57 Olds coupe.
Well, started about, I don't know, 11, 12 years ago. It was a lady I was with at the time. We wanted to get another car. I was actually looking for something for her. And we went on Trade Me as you do and found a whole lot of cars. We went talking, had a look at the whole lot of the cars, from Corvettes to them and this. And this one really appealed. The guy just imported it from the States. It wasn't registered on the road or anything like that at the time. Just liked the look of it, the shape of it. I mean, I was always loved 57 Chevys. And it's sort of got very similar lines, but it's not a 57 Chevy. And no offense to 57 Chevy owners, but they're a bit common. So yeah, I ended up buying this.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out the appeal of Oldsmobile's Super 88 Holiday Hardtop, but it may just have been inspired by one. The year was 57, and the space race era in full swing. Auto manufacturers scrambled to fuse the design aesthetic with more down-to-earth transportation. Oldsmobile was not to sit on the sidelines.
Big grille, you know, the big oval grille, which is supposed to be something to do with the space race type thing, and the tail lights, which are like rocket boosters supposedly, so they say. And yeah, it's got some really good lines and little bits and pieces over it, like little jet planes on the guards and stuff like that. The three windows at the back is really quite appealing, and from the back it looks really cool with those windows and the rib that goes down the roof and through the boot. So yeah, she's a good looking car. I think so anyway.
The design is now 60 years old but has stood the test of time. The same can be said for the coupe's makeover. Don't let this clean hardtop deceive you. This is no new build, and the odometer has seen plenty of digits since.
Well, I bought it probably 11, like, trying to work it out, 11 or 12, maybe 10, 11 years ago. I built it up over the next 2 years. So yeah, but that was 9 years ago since it's been completely done. Yeah, it's actually still looking pretty good for a car that's been sitting around for a while and been driven. I just don't see the point in having these cars sitting there and not using them, to be honest. And yes, it does, they do deteriorate, but that's life, isn't it?
It's hard to argue with the aesthetic efforts of the GM design team, so Raz didn't. Instead, turning his attention to more pressing issues.
I first got it, it had drum brakes all around, and it was like a lottery. You'd go, which way's the brake's going to go today when they hit the brake, you know? And at that time, Beach Hop was going up to the top of Coromandel there and coming down the hill to Whitianga, is it? And yeah, I had both feet on the brake pedal going, is this car going to stop? And anyway, so we decided that's when I started to do all the work, four-wheel disc brakes, and then of course all the suspensions changed with the airbags. I've had that new arms made up for the front, and 4 bars put in the back, and the airbags all round. So yeah, basically the body's very standard, but the other stuff is all different from original.
Getting the big coupe along the road in admirable fashion too, it must be said, is outsourced to the wider GM family. Yes, the trusty old small block Chevy.
Yeah, she goes right. And to be honest with the motor, I bought it with the motor that's in it. Some guy converted it to the Chevy 350 in the States. I didn't see any point in taking it out and trying to make it original again. I mean, it's not as if it's the original car. So if it had the Oldsmobile in, I would have left it in, because they're actually quite a nice motor too. But I thought, well, leave it as it is. And it's got a 350 Chev and a Turbo 400 in it. So, and still the old stuff.
With the Olds about 9 years past run-in miles, Raz hasn't been sitting in park. An Impala and El Camino are included in the fleet, as is the latest score, a big block 69 Roadrunner. Enough to keep him thoroughly occupied, not that he's complaining.
I don't know, I just think it's the V8s and I love the lines of the old cars and the classic cars. Just to be honest, a lot of these Japanese cars go a lot faster, but these things, they got class, you know, and that's what I like about them. They're just classy. They sound great.
Right, our mates at Mount Shop have a shed rating again, but this week we've got something a little bit different in store. Meet hot rodder, pinstriper and all-round automotive artist, Stace Roper.
I don't just do one thing because I think having ADHD helps. You get bored quite quickly. So I kind of jump around quite a bit. And I think some people think that if you're good at one thing, you should just do one thing and do it well. But I like everything. So I'll go through a phase where I'll just spend a couple of days just pinstriping, or I'll spend a day just painting saws, because I like painting words and I like painting fonts and things, and then I'll have another 2 weeks of painting a picture, you know. And I like odd things to paint on, as it turns out. But they're not good at making prints from, though. I figured that out pretty quickly. My style is sort of a cross between pop art and weirdo art, and it's part of the lowbrow art genre. So, I mean, my background is skateboarding and graphic design, and I've always, much to the horror of my art teachers, put black lines around everything, and I've always thought it was from influence from comic books and things like that. But I actually think it goes further back from when I was a kid using colouring in books, so nothing has changed. And it's kind of weird, but I kind of still see lines around everything, even if it's not really there.
Art and automobiles have plenty of history. Think concept drawings and elaborate illustrations of 50s sales brochures to physically using the car as a canvas. Automotive art casts a wide net. Lowbrow describes a visual art movement originating in LA in the late 70s, its roots in comics, punk music, tiki culture and hot rodding. But it wouldn't be fair to box Stace in one category. With a portfolio that includes striping, lettering, airbrushing, lowbrow, as well as near photorealism, it's no surprise she's a popular figure in New Zealand's car culture. But for someone who started penning cars to paper at age 7, it wasn't an intentional career move.
When you do lowbrow art, you sort of never expect that you can sell any of it, because you don't think anyone's interested in what you're creating, because it's not highbrow. You can't rock up to galleries in Auckland with it and go, "Hey man, do you want to represent me or anything?" Because they're just going to laugh. It's just, you know, it's like lowbrow. I like the kooky stuff, but going to them, it's like they want to hear this giant big explanation about where you thought it came from, and it's the opposite. It's more visual. And it's I don't know, it's sort of more happy, and I feel it's younger too. I don't think you need to be super educated to appreciate Green Rat, you know. I wasn't really a horse and pony type drawer.
And with a world of classic cars and hot rods ripe for subject matter, there's no shortage of inspiration.
They're just such beautiful looking machines. The handcrafting that's gone into them, you know, it's sculptural. It's art before anyone draws pictures of it. Come on, man, if I painted a picture of a 32 coupe and then painted a 2007 Toyota, I know which one I'd rather have on the wall, you know.
Commissioned pieces take up a fair bit of Stace's time, and they're not all what you might expect. The canvas differs wildly. Tins and saws are a regular sight in rodder sheds around the land, but sometimes the art extends to the garage itself. And of course, there's the cars. Though it's not always pinstriping and lettering, as was the case with the 5 weeks of H.R. Geiger-inspired airbrushing applied to Steve Brooks' Diesel Rat. Creative license is a critical ingredient of the process, but it takes a degree of trust between artist and client.
To me, those are dream jobs. It's great. It's great for me, because then you kind of can do really, really cool stuff. Because I've worked in advertising, and clients and brand guidelines are not fun. It's hard to be creative when you've got so many constraints, but when there are no constraints, you can actually, your work grows and it develops real quickly too. So I've been very, very lucky, and I'm humble and thankful for it too.
You can check out more of Stace's work by searching Stace the Ace on social media. Unashamedly old school, just like the cars, it's analogue art for a digital world.
If you ever come to my stall at a car show, there is nothing printed. I can assure you that every single thing is hand painted on my stall. I get that a lot. People looking at some of the canvases that I've pinstriped and going, oh, it's just a digital print. And I'm like, oh, hell no, it's not. I hand painted that. People sometimes balk at the price, and it's like, well, how much do you get paid for 2 weeks' work? Because I sure as heck ain't getting paid the same. Don't be afraid to invest in art. It would be nice if more people did.
Amazing results, even at full sight.
You're back with Teng Tools Muscle Garage, proudly brought to you by Teng Tools, in association with Mount Shop, Maguire's and Niedercar. Okay, thanks to Niedercar, we're off to farewell the Royals Rumble, an annual spring event hosted by a band of mates that go by the Royals. 10 years marks the end of an era for this intentionally low-key Pirongia get-together. Well, it's been low-key for the participants anyway.
Come around pretty quick, but it's just gotten bigger over those 10 years. Even if it was just us geezers sitting around just having a few beers and talking and old car stuff, you know, it didn't really worry us.
Yeah, I don't think there's been any chili building time at all. Actually, it's been so busy. Usually it's sort of start to finish. It's flat out. So yeah, no, it hasn't been that. It is the plan for this afternoon. Once everybody clears out, we're going to set it up and do that. So
the Rumble is old school. A bit of a niche event, and for the Royals, a decade's worth of laid-back hot rod shows was enough. A natural time to wrap things up. And before there could be any second thoughts, fate would see that call time out with the sale of the venue, the Pirongia Clydesdale Cafe. It's an event that's fought the odd wet spring day over its 10 years, but what has stayed constant is the choice of transportation.
363, American, British, and we like them to sort of be hot rodded in the old school style. No shiny wheels, no digital dashboards.
And that's the great thing about our car culture is that, you know, there's a lot of subcultures, you know, and I think that when we said, right, you know, white walls, flat heads, probably didn't expect the people coming from so far away.
Absolutely ecstatic. Ecstatic from the fact that the support we've got, the exact targeted people that we've wanted to happen, and the way the event runs, it's all about people just, hey, start of the show season, start of the hot rodding season, let guys catch up after a long winter working on cars, and just good people catching up, hanging out together. That's the absolute key. The cars in the background are just what caps it off, icing on the cake.
The call to keep the cars old school was an easy one. It's the style of vehicle the Royals are keen on, and it's their day. Who can blame them? They're a club that's not really a club. Members are primarily Waikato based, but travel from as far away as Wellington too.
We're just a bunch of mates. I think that's the biggest thing, just a bunch of mates with the same sort of ideas on how we like to do cars and what we like to do as far as the hot rodding scene is concerned. So we don't have any governing body telling us what to do or whatever. So yeah, that's really all we are, really.
Yeah, we're not a club as such, you know. We're just a bunch of guys that have known each other for so long, and when we actually sat down and started hatching all this, you know, we realised that we had just a common bond. You know, yeah, we like beer, you know, we like old music, we like old women, we like old cars, you know. So yeah, and the camaraderie is awesome, you know.
The Rumble certainly doesn't have awards, but if it did, well, the long distance trophy in 2018 would go to Jimmy and Kerry Keys up from the Manawatu.
Yep, took us 6 hours yesterday. Started off nice, bit of rain in the middle, and got here and it was nice again. It's nice to drive. It doesn't look like it is, but it drives quite nice. Bit hungry on gas, but it's a bit of a trade-off. 34 Ford Coupe, 354 Chrysler Hemi, 6 carbs, turbo 400, trans, 8-inch diff. It's quite an experience, I suppose. You see things differently on the road. People always waving and tooting and gives you a hell of a fright sometimes. But yeah, everyone seems to be your friend. You stop for gas and you're in a hurry, but somebody wants to talk, so you spend the time to talk to them and they take photos and then you're on your way again. So you can never be in a hurry anywhere.
The Royals themselves pilot some pretty neat vehicles. Tony and Vanessa recently decided they needed more Oldsmobile in their life.
It's always been a bit of a dream to have the 49, the new one we just got in the country. We saw a picture of one in a book probably 10 years ago. Been keeping an eye out for it, and then friends just texted us one day and said, have you seen this 49 for sale in Pomona, I think it was, and so, you know, a few months later it's sitting in our garage. Yeah, I usually get a bit of ribbing. There's 2 Oldsmobiles and countless number of Oldsmobile motors on the floor and all sorts of things. So yeah, something a bit different. Yeah.
Another rare sight on our roads, Kevin's Edsel Sports Coupe.
Yeah, it's a 1958 Edsel Pacer. It's a Pacer 2-door sports coupe. One of obviously the first years of Edsel for the 2.5 years that they run. It's factory car. It still runs the original 361 cubic inch FE big block. There's a lot of misconception and misunderstanding about them. They were very much ahead of their time at the time of release, and the Ford Motor Company lost a huge amount of money on them. They released a lot of very new technology that nobody had seen before and nobody knew how to support. So the tele-touch transmission caused some huge issues, but it actually works really, really cool, and it's quite a neat feature on the car as well. Obviously it's got the Edsel grille, which is distinctive, and that's what Ford wanted. They wanted to be able to tell that car when they released it from 2 blocks away. Well, you certainly can't miss them. You either love them or you loathe them, and we love it.
Wrapping up today's lineup of rare American iron and looking for all money a custom straight from the Ford factory, John's Starliner.
15, 20 years ago, I saw Mark Stokes in his Grey's one that he got roll into Cambridge swap meet. It was the coolest car I've ever seen. Factory, they got so much custom to them, it's amazing. So finally one came up in my price line, so I bought it, done a few things to it. I've got to thank Sean for that, Sean Fleet, and it's all legal now and it drives a dream, honestly it does. A bubble top is out of my league, so that there is the closest thing to a bubble top, and even though that's lowered 2 inches, it looks so much sleeker and long, and with the windows down being pillarless, it's sexy as, it's as easy as I can say it, yeah. And being a rare model as well, 60, I think they mainly make 1260 of them, so yeah, it's cool, yeah. 390 FE in it, with an exhaust leak like they always have on the passenger side, normal auto behind it, factory diff, it's got drum brakes all around so it slows down a little bit. What I like the most is in this car, I've only driven it to a few events, people coming up and actually having to read the sticker on the side, because even Ford owners don't truly know what it is, and that's what I actually like the most about it, because most people that know me know that I like stuff that's different, and that's what it's all about. To me, it's one of the best and coolest cars they actually built in the 60s.
And it would seem all good things must end. This low-key spring get-together will be missed on the Waikato hot rodding calendar, but while the Rumble might be done and dusted, you sure haven't heard the last of the Royals.
End of an era. If we had one event, we were happy. If we had more than one, we were ecstatic. So time for us to have a bit of a different view. What do we do next? Have a think. We'll sit back as Royals and decide where we want to go next, and we'll let the rest of the rodding world know what we're doing once we've made our own minds up, I think.
I tell you, one of the biggest thrills for me is to wander into somebody's garage or something in a totally different part of the country, somebody I don't know from Adam, and hanging on the wall is a Royals Rumble poster. It's a great event, and I didn't think we'd be here 10 years later. It's something to be proud of. I'm proud of it, and I know the other guys are too. So.
Every week we're giving our viewers the chance to win a Teng Tools and Maguire's gift pack worth $250. Simply head to themotorhood.com and hit the Teng Tools Muscle Garage link. By entering our weekly draws at the end of the series, one lucky viewer will win a massive Teng Tools 622-piece automotive toolkit and 7-drawer workstation, a complete Maguire's car care pack, and a $500 mount shop voucher. The total value of this grand prize is nearly $6,000. Good luck, everyone. Teng Tools Muscle Garage was proudly brought to you by Teng Tools. Get organised. Mount Shop, undercar specialists. Maguire's, people who love cars love Maguire's. And Need a Car, the easy way to research and buy cars online.